issues apparently. I think there's little fairies that live in. It's dark. So as I said, I love being able to see leopards I haven't seen before.
Who's he related to?
I'm not sure who he's related to. I think he comes from down south originally. To me, I don't know, but I don't know who he was born to. Maybe if you guys who are on the Leopards of the Sabi Sand Facebook pages and that, does anyone know if Tingana was born in the Sabi Sands, or is he coming from Kruger or somewhere else? So maybe you guys can let me know. You can email that to me on questions@wildearth.tv, or you can use the hashtag Safari Live if you're on Twitter. Here's a ferry. Definitely don't think he's as old as Mvula. You can see he doesn't have, his ears aren't that tatty yet. So the main road is sort of the boundary between WildEarthTV and Djuma. Almost acts as a natural boundary for a hole right next to us. This hole that's just next to us here, and I can see definitely fresh diggings in the hole. Maybe this is how he catches all his aardvarks. He finds the hole and just sits there. You can see he's listening and looking down into that hole. Whoops. So, as I was saying, guys, that Remy on Twitter is just asking, is he waiting for something? Cheers. So, I think he's waiting here personally. He will probably rest here. I'm just gonna. The other vehicle's leaving now, so we're gonna move into a spot where I want to just have a bit of look in this hole. Back a bit, without being able to get off and look at the tracks. It's quite difficult for me to say what animal it is in that hole. Just trying to find the best spot for you guys to have a view in. So it's funny. It's a funny angle there. It's a funny angle. So I can see actually inside it from where I am, but you really can't, because if I go any further down, you don't see it at all.
That's okay. That's good.
Where? There we go. So you can see. I can actually see a bit of dust coming out. There's definitely movement in there. I don't see any distinct warthog tracks. So this could be.
Yeah, just trying to look inside. Just trying to look inside, folks.
So we're just looking inside. That's why the camera's so blown out. You can actually see the flies buzzing around the entrance. We're just trying to look into the darkness. That's why it looks so blown out. But I'm pretty sure there's definitely something in there. And he's obviously heard and smelt it. So that's why he's playing the patience game. Clever leopard. And he's going to wait here until something happens. I'm just going to go around again. I think this could be an aardvark in here. I don't. So if anything comes out, he's in a really. So if anything comes out, he's in a really good position where he's lying. There we go. You can see him there, and you can see how well that his camouflage is working. And then you can see that mound beyond him. Good morning, Blair from New Zealand. They would like to know, well, why doesn't he just stick his paws in and grab the aardvark? So, it's been a great morning so far. For those of you who might have logged in late or just joined us, we started off the morning with the pride lions around the dam playing, and now we're sitting here with the dominant male leopard from Arathusa, who's playing a patience game, waiting for an animal that's in a hole. And he's probably going to wait here the majority of the day, and just to see what comes out of that hole. Oh, you could see dust coming out of it just now. There's something squirming around inside. He's waiting close by like we were, to come in and have a look. Safari access, and I'll make space for you. So he's chosen a leopard that I haven't seen before.
Me too.
It's also new for you.
You're new for me as well.
Jeez, we just keep seeing the new leopards these days. So I mean, and since the last week or so, we've seen three leopard we haven't seen before. Not just us two. other defense mechanisms does it have? Well, normally aardvark use bolt holes like this while they're out foraging. They can run into a hole to get away from a leopard. But in this position, leopards will sort of put himself in the private. There's not much an aardvark could do to get away from a leopard. As he comes out to go start foraging, the leopard's right there and on top of him. And they do have very long swords, but I don't ever heard of them using them to defend themselves. They would. I mean, they would fight. They could possibly scratch the leopard, but I think you'd be too quick onto them as they come out of the hole to actually be able to defend against. Good morning, Anne on Twitter. Anne would like to know whether aardvarks are nocturnal. Yes, Anne, they do feed occasionally during the day, but most of the time they are nocturnal, and generally they only get moving after the sort of peak predator hours in the evening. So probably after 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, they would come out. Not always, but generally, and it all depends on the predator densities of the area as well. But yes, and they are mostly nocturnal. Good morning, Jeremy from Iowa. Jeremy would like to know, do aardvark excavate their own burrows, or do they steal burrows from other animals, and how long do they stay in each burrow? Well, Jeremy, it's actually the other way around. The aardvark do most of the excavatings, and the warthogs and hyenas and wild dogs and porcupines and everyone else will take over disused aardvark burrows. So they're the ones who make most of the burrows originally. And as to how long they stay in each burrow, I'm not 100% sure, Jeremy. I'll have a quick look in my big book, see if there's anything on that. I'll go on here later, this afternoon, but we're just going to make space for Ryan to come. And so he can also, him and his guests can also enjoy the leopard. I will get back to that aardvark question shortly, once I manage to get out of the block. Just while we're leaving, there's another question from D. Hodgkins. She says, what are the likelihood of a honey badger also being in that burrow? I would say probably about 0, D. I doubt that there's a honey badger in that burrow. But, oh, sorry, not 0, 1%, because you never know. There might be that 1% chance that there's a honey badger in the burrow. Station with Tingana, one station making your way, no stations on standby. Affirm. Nearly out of this thick bush that he will, not thick bush, but the bush he was lying in, and we'll be back on the main road shortly. And just a quick update for those of you who might have just logged in or are new. We started our morning with a wonderful lion sighting around Twin Dams on Djuma. Had them drinking and playing. We left them sleeping off the remains of a buffalo on the eastern bank of the Mawati. We then went looking for some elephants. Unfortunately, their tracks didn't come out of that big block between the roads. And then I heard on the radio that this male leopard was here, and it's a male leopard I hadn't seen before, so I jumped on the opportunity to come see a new leopard. And also quite interesting that he's the leopard that is quite famous for eating aardvark, and he's sitting right outside a burrow, waiting patiently. So I wonder, in the next few days, are we going to be able to find out whether Tingana has got another aardvark up a tree? And then my plan now is, for those who are wondering, we did have those elephant tracks going into that block, and I said as it gets warmer, it might be worthwhile going to check around the water to see if they might have made their way there to drink. So I'm going to head down towards Treehouse Dam, see if there's any sign of them in that area. Good morning, Sharon from Ohio. Sharon would like to know, do aardvarks make any sorts of sounds? I've heard them make quite a lot of different sort of grunting and snorting sounds, but I will see if they make any other sounds than that. Just this way while we're slowly meandering on, we'll check how long aardvark are supposed to stay in burrow, or how long they thought to stay in individual burrows for. And what sounds do they make? Give me 1 second here. Rearrange some things quickly. Okay, let's have a quick look here at the aardvark things. Well, let's actually go stop somewhere a bit prettier than the main road, and then I'll have a look at the aardvark, see what sounds they make, and how long they've thought to stay in each hole. Thank you very much, stations. I'm going to be crossing back to the north. I'm just going to cross back onto the Djuma radio. Stations crossing back from the west. Can I have an update on WildEarthTV, please? Copy, thanks very much. Copy, thanks. Ephraim coming. Any luck with those in Global? Okay, copy. There's Tingana, Salada breakaways, and Shadows Monton, all different areas. Tingana's off Triple M. I didn't quite catch where breakaways, and the Shadows Monton was at Knobthorn Pan BD site. I heard an elephant there, trumpet for a second.
He was either his car going off-road or an elephant.
I know, that's what I really thought I heard an elephant. And yeah, I could have sworn I heard an elephant trumpeting right now. I'm just going to go have a quick look down where we thought we heard that. But it was either that or a vehicle passing us making a very strange noise. Sounded quite far though, in this direction here. Go down here for a little bit, then I'm going to turn off and listen. And while we try listen, I'm going to see if we can catch up on that aardvark information. Okay, we're listening, and I'm just going to have a look at the Wow, isn't that interesting? There's been no real clear indication of aardvark home ranges, but in certain areas they've been in a 10-hour foraging period, do up to 15 kilometers. And it has been recorded as kilometers in a night. Okay, I've found the right spot, just give me a second. Okay, so there were two questions we were looking at. I found the answer to one of them, and that was that how long does an aardvark generally stay in one of their burrows? And it can very much vary. They'll have multiple burrows within a home range that they use, so they'll have favorite spots, but it's probably every couple of weeks they'll move between different burrows. Then they also have bolt hole burrows that they can just run into to escape predators. And quite an interesting old story that in 1900, a scientist by the name of Bryden, who was trying to catch one as a specimen, saw it go down the hole, and they started digging it in enough sand in Botswana to try catch it. And it turns out you can't dig as fast as an aardvark, because they gave up after digging for 2.5 hours and 32 meters, and they actually dug tunnels for 32 meters, and the aardvark could dig faster than they could trying to catch it. And there was another, I think a bit more recently in Zimbabwe, where scientists, an employee tried to catch a live aardvark and held onto its tail and got pulled 50 meters through a potato field, of all things. And as I like the way it's put here, an employee wishing to catch a live specimen, no doubt with reward in mind, was dragged bodily through a potato field for over 50 meters before he was compelled to release the aardvark's tail. I like that wording. I didn't find anything about this, what noises they might make, apart from those grunts and snorts I've heard before. Maybe you guys can find something that out there on the interweb that can tell us a bit more about what type of noises an aardvark can make. And if you do find anything, please send them through to questions@WildEarthTV, or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. So it might have been the car going past us, because I haven't heard another sound that sounds vaguely like an elephant. So I think we stick to our original plan and head towards the water now that it's getting warm. A lot of testicular alarm calls, yeah? Remember, there were female leopard tracks in this area earlier. So I think we'll start making our way back towards Treehouse Dam. Hopefully those elephants have moved out of that block and come down towards the water. So guys, I haven't heard anything about that green bird that was in the tree earlier that we asked you to identify. So I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of apparently, oh dear. Not to worry. The satellite was being toyed with satellite ferries up in space. So unfortunately we didn't see that, so I have to look for another one. Morning, Trent from Fiji. Always get quite jealous when I hear Trent from Fiji, because I've heard Fiji is such a wonderfully beautiful spot. really good fishing as well. Trent would like to know whether baby elephants use their mouth or their trunk to suckle. Trent, they do use their mouth. Their trunk sort of gets in the way and they will sort of move it out of their way to suckle. Good morning, Julia from Wisconsin. Julia would like to know whether baby elephants go through a teething process. Julia, well, they lose their first sort of tusks and baby teeth quite early, and I imagine there would be some teething coming through, but I've never noticed them like I have with lions and other animals, noticeably being irritated by their teeth. But I'm sure there must be some form of teething process. I see a lonely wildebeest. Hello, Gnu. Where are you going, Gnu? Crossing out of... Oh, there's a few more coming. Hello, wildly beasts. Off to go visit little girl. Okay, we're just going to come through down towards Treehouse Dam. And second part of the question about teething is about tooth rotation in elephants, and I will get to that in a moment. I just want to get somewhere where we can stop and have a proper look. There's quite a nice down. Lots of different animals, or porcupine are great, and just with the sun and the rain, slowly all those things, even huge bones from an elephant, disappear. And I just want to have a quick look to see if they might have drunk from the tracks at the top of the dam, but I don't think so. Let's see if the hippo pops up. And it gives me a chance to find that wonderful diagram about teeth. Standing by. Straight east, you cross the Molwati, and you'll see where my tracks go through that eroded section, across the Molwati, and then head east on the, head north on the eastern bank of the Molwati. So there's a very shy hippo, keeping his just a tiny bit of his back showing there. What do you got there, Brian? Pied wagtail, looks like it. I can't see it. Yep, African pied wagtail. A very, very shy hippo. So I'm just trying to get through here. Nearly there. That hippo is definitely not being very, he's all being very camera shy. Copy, thanks. So, unfortunately, I forgot. It's not really a diagram as such. I have seen them before, but it's more of a sort of time frame for the 6 sets of elephant teeth in years. So they have 6 sets, and so the first set of molars will come out in the first year, and so for the first couple of years they come quite quickly. Then the second set, so they do have that teething process. Then second set in the second year, the third set generally in the 6th year, the 4th set in the 15th year, the 5th set in the 28th year, and the last set in the 47th year. I guess that's probably on average, not specific. So that's it's quite interesting that. And once they reach that last set of molars, and by about when they get sort of over 50, 55, or about 50, between 55 and 60, there's almost nothing left, sort of ground down, and that's when you watch elephants start losing condition, when they're unable to chew their food. So if you look at elephant dung, they digest so little of what they eat already, and then to now remove their teeth away, and that's sort of the end of the road for a lot of ellies. Okay. Well, this hippo is not being very cooperative, so, and the elephants haven't come out, so I'm going to reverse back and go check the rest of that road to see if they have come out of that block. If they haven't, maybe they've done pulled a sneaky maneuver on us, and they just turned around and went back to where they came from and left us wandering around like headless chickens. Good morning, John from Arizona. John would like to know what prompts a hippo to leave a body of water and move, and would they prefer to do this during the night or during the day? Well, John, there's quite a few different reasons that could prompt a hippo to leave a body of water. The first and most obvious reason is that body of water getting too small, drying up. The second, and also quite a obvious reason, is that they lack food around that body of water. They have finished all the grazing in that area. Third would be pressure from other hippos, specifically if they're a male, and that also ties in to the second one, lack of food, but because of pressure, but also there could just be pressure from another male. And fourth is because they just want to change the scenery. And you do see that from time to time, that a hippo will move. There's no real reason to move between the dams, but they do. It could be maybe that they just end up feeding in that area and they're like, well, it's just easier to go into this water than it is to go all the way back to where I came from. And when they choose to do this, by choice, they will almost always do it at night. It's unusual for them to do it during the day, and there would have to be sort of very high pressure for them to cover big distance during the day. but it is unusual. But I have seen them move during the day, specifically in northern Botswana and southern Tanzania. But there's a lot more pressure and a lot more hippos because of the way the river systems are there. But yeah, normally they will move during the night. Don't run away, don't run away, don't run away. Stop and look at us. There we go. And we can count to 3, and they're going to run again. 1, 2, 3. No. Hello, warthogs. I knew it. Normally, in warthogs, I'd spend a lot of time in thick bush. Like the area we're in at the moment. When they stop and look at you like this, you can almost always go 1, 2, 3, and then they run. But they've put a bit more distance between themselves and us now, so they're feeling a bit safer at that distance, but still quite nervous. You can see that. So it looks like, I love that, those thick white whiskers they've got. Look. Looks like sort of an old Victorian moustache. Just the nose. You've got a better chance of dominating the mating game, but also for defense. And the big impressive tusks that you see on the top, that are sort of the ones that everyone really associates with a warthog, are not the ones that do the damage. So underneath there's a tusk or a tush, much smaller, and it's literally rubs up against that upper tusk, and it is razor sharp. And that is the one that actually does a lot of the damage, rather than the big curly one that looks pretty. It's the smaller, lower one underneath that is. So this is where the elephants came in, and there's just no sign of them coming out. Magic elephants, they must have grown wings and flown out of that block. Oh, they burrowed, yes. We have a rare form of burrowing elephant here in South Sound. And they get annoyed with game drives, they burrow. That would be a sight to see. Imagine a burrowing elephant.
Imagine one coming out of a hole.
That would be quite special. So, for those of you who might be new or have logged in a little bit late this morning, we've had a fantastic morning so far. We found the Djuma pride at sunrise and spent some time with them while they were playing, and then watched where they moved to the area they're going to rest for the day. And we've been tracking this herd of elephant. We haven't had any luck with them yet, but in the middle of tracking the elephant, we heard that there was a male leopard Brian and I hadn't seen before, so we jumped at that opportunity to see a new cat, and we went and had a view at Tingana. And quite interestingly, he is waiting what looks to me, waiting next to what appears to be an art farm. I think he's caught 4 in the last year. So that could be quite an interesting story that still has to play out, as he's positioned himself in a very good position. If that art farm happens to come out, he can ambush it. And now we're still looking for the to find the tracks of them coming out anywhere. So just gonna have a quick look at the water at Twin Dams. And this is where we had the lions this morning. Was where our first sighting them was at Twin Dams. And remember, we are interactive. You can email us questions while we're on drive. The email address is questions@WildEarthTV. And if you're on Twitter, you can just use the hashtag SafariLive. Good morning, Elizabeth. Elizabeth would like to know, when a hippo gives birth, I'm not sure how long it is, Elizabeth. I don't think it takes too long, probably 5 to 10 minutes. And it's generally, they generally give birth on in a very shallow water, or on the land very close to water, or in reed beds, places like that. So we got a question the other night about how to age tracks. Unfortunately, it was a bit dark when we tried to do it. So I'm going to try to do it now when we've got a bit of light. And there's some nice big tracks to see. Can you see that there? Is that too close? What? So I don't have to try make a funny fake track when we've got a very nice big clear big animal track to work with here. And there's a hippo track. I think it was Brett who asked a couple of nights ago about how we age tracks and what indicators do we look for. And here we've got a nice big hippo track, nice and easy to see. And Brett's gonna, I'm gonna explain why and how old. Ooh. Let me get out of the sun. This track is, you can see it's very distinct. You've got the 4 toes of the hippo. I would say this track is possibly from early last night. You can see how sharp the edges are. There wasn't any wind, so it hasn't really changed. So I'm gonna show you how to age a track now, how I would tell that the track is even older. But I'm gonna manually age it, so I'm gonna cheat a little bit. So now we can see that the track is the edges on is blurred. I mean, so the edges on is fine, and it looks a bit blurred. So we can see now that, or maybe this wasn't from last night. Maybe this was from the night before, or even a bit older. And then also what we'll see is we look for other animal tracks on top, which also give us an idea of what age they are. So if we had like dove tracks, the emerald spotted wood doves do a lot of walking in the mornings, and they tend to cover a lot of tracks. So if we ever find like a leopard track or a lion track that is on top of the dove tracks, we know it's a very fresh track and definitely worth following. Well, that's just a little tracking tutorial. hopefully that makes a little bit easier for you guys to understand how we look at tracks and how we're able to find animals and follow. I've been locked out of the car. So for the what I would like to do now is just quickly go back and check on where we left those lions sleeping, make sure they haven't moved off anywhere, so we know where they are for this afternoon. Sorry, I just heard something funny. It sounded like we had a flat tire for a second, but it wasn't. So it's really nice to have the Nkavuma Pride back on Djuma. I think the last time I saw them was probably Easter. Was it Easter Sunday or Easter Saturday? And even then it was a very brief view of them disappearing into Hoek to the north. So I haven't seen the Nkavumas in an age. So we left them lying up just up ahead here. So hopefully they haven't moved off. I just want to make sure, because now it's quite hot, and if they are still lying here, it's a very good possibility we're going to be able to find them this afternoon without too much trouble. Ah, a lovely pile of lions. So they're exactly where we left them lying up. The only thing is that they're lying a bit closer, reaffirming those social bonds. So lions, especially when they've got a full belly, like this, they'll probably sleep 23 hours out of 24. Obviously they have little bursts of energy and they play. And on average, a lion will sleep 20 out of 24 hours. Not the most active animals when they don't have to be. One station within Djuma. Sort of looked like they were resting, but we just wanted to make sure they hadn't again. So we know for this afternoon. So I think there's definitely not going to be much happening here, apart from feline flatulence. So we're going to make our way out, and just good to know where they are for this afternoon for the next game drive. Goodbye, kitty cats. Have a good snooze. I thought he was going to give us a good sneeze there for a second. Looked like we're going to get a big lion sneeze. Yeah. There we go. Nice. Bit of steep driving for us, yeah? Hope I don't lose Brian. Ah, easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Leaving Nkuma's lying up in the same place. Okay. Oh, thank you for another question, Virginia. Tweeting us. Virginia would like to know if I've ever seen lions and leopards attacked by a porcupine. I'm afraid not. I've seen leopards and lions attack a porcupine and the porcupine defend itself. But I've never seen a porcupine actively look out and search for lions and leopards to attack. Or hunting porcupine. I have seen it a couple of times. It's in Botswana and in the Sabi Sands, actually. Oh, what have we there? A bit far. I didn't get a really good look at it. I'm afraid I didn't get a good enough look to idea is going to turn around. It's a bit far. Bit far. If I had to... Oh, maybe coming closer. Sure. Haha. Didn't look like it initially, but no, maybe it is. Just give me a few more seconds. It's a bit closer. Come on, come closer. Well, I really can't wait for my binoculars to be fixed. Yes, and it is a guess without binos. Oh, no, I might change my mind. I just saw something there. As it turned around.
Like grey and white markings on its back.
I think I'm gonna stick with my original. I'm gonna say it's a tawny eagle. And it's coming much closer. Oh, it's seen something. Oh, pulled out at the last second there. Nice camera work, Brian. How incredible was that, guys? To just see him fold his wings and start plummeting. You must have seen a squirrel or a rodent.
Maybe he'll go again.
Maybe. That was amazing. Squirrel spotted him now. Danger, danger, danger. So I think I'm going to go with a tawny eagle on that one. If you have a look here, I'll show you why. You can have a look. So there, once you see it, sort of, I know it is a bit zoomed and not the sharpest image at that distance. I can't see what the monitor's saying. You tell me. Huh? There we go. So you can see very distinct big brown eagle. A big brown eagle that is common in this part of the world when the Wahlbergs and everyone else has left is probably going to be the tawny. So there we go, tawny eagle. Good morning, Suzanne Wolf. Suzanne Wolf says with falcons, particularly peregrine falcons, that action is called, I think it was a stoop. Is that the same with eagles and hawks? I would guess so. Yes, and it is an amazing thing when they fold their wings like that, sort of plummet towards the earth. When a peregrine does that, he becomes the fastest, I think it's the fastest animal in the world. Well, I think there might be a fish that's faster. I think it could be a fish. Or the fastest non-aquatic animal in the world. But yeah, it is incredible. But you see how quickly he managed to pull out of that. When obviously whatever he was trying to catch spotted him. So we've been really, really lucky this morning. I always love starting with a cat. Sort of just makes my day all the better. Sort of can't wipe the smile off my face if I start at sunrise with lions. And then also fantastic to get to be able to see a new leopard. Both Brian and I hadn't seen before. Seems every time he was spotted, we were either on leave or on the complete opposite end of the property, and far, far away, looking for other leopards. But it is always exciting, and I think really exciting the story that's going to build there if he does manage to catch an aardvark. And I'm pretty convinced that's an aardvark burrow and not a warthog burrow. I don't know if you wouldn't have been able to see it, but there's quite a large grouping of little black flies that are actually one of the indicative signs that a burrow is from an aardvark and not from a warthog. The warthogs have a different type of flies and they don't sit in the same manner. So, oopsie, I'm quite convinced. So fingers crossed. Well, not if you're an aardvark, but it could be very interesting. And then this is very much, it seems to be a learned behavior by this leopard, that he focuses on aardvarks. When he finds the burrow, from what we saw, he was looking and listening and looking into the hole, and then as soon as it got a bit warmer and whatnot and he realized nothing was going to happen, he managed to position himself in a really good ambush position, less than sort of 2 meters from the entrance to the burrow, So maybe he's going to be waiting for that aardvark to come out this evening and just dinner time. Oh, we're just checking if there's a buffalo in the wallow. Yeah, the flies are there, but no buffalo. And it's very nice to have the Nkahuma pride back on property. As I said, I haven't seen them since Easter, and even then it was a very brief visual across the Buffelshoek boundary as they disappeared into the distance. So nice to have them back on property, and nice when they started moving deeper into Djuma instead of across Djuma and out, which we seem to find more often than not. But hopefully they will spend a bit of time around for the next couple of weeks. It'll be great to have them there and have them around, and hopefully that big herd of buffalo comes back and draws them back as well. Guys, it's been a wonderful morning. Thank you, all of you, who have joined us this morning. We've been incredibly lucky, and as I said, it's such a privilege for all of us here to be able to share our passion and love for the African bushveld with you all over the world. Thank you very, very much for the questions. We really do appreciate them. It makes it much easier for us than us making up nonsense. We actually get something to talk about. And from all of us here at WildEarth, and now starting to get slightly warm, gone to about 24 degrees now, so about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Have a wonderful evening or morning wherever you are in the world, and join us all this afternoon. Bye.